Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share with you a little bit about some of the things that have been coming up very commonly with my GLP-1 clients. There is so much nuance to this topic, and definitely this is not an exhaustive video of this is the only thing that you need to know, but I thought there is so many things floating out there about GLP-1s. What are the three core things that I think are the most important to know starting off when I'm talking to my folks that are beginning a GLP-1 or thinking about starting? Any follow-up questions? Let's do a way longer video or a follow-up video or a video series to this video. How many times can I say video? But let's continue this conversation. First, I want to start off with, I know there's a lot of shade and like negative comments about GLP-1 medications, but what it comes down to is GLP-1s do have a medical necessity for some folks, especially those with diabetes and pre-diabetes. GLP-1s are a medication that helps your body's insulin response. So it's sensitizing your body's insulin and making it work better for those who especially have insulin resistance, where that it's not functioning as it once did. So this often leads to more cravings for carbohydrates, more cravings for sweet foods, even directly after a meal, and also central adiposity because your insulin response is trying to overcompensate for the higher glucose amount that's in your bloodstream. And that overcompensation of insulin is causing your body to store fat more frequently, thus making weight loss more difficult. Yes, I definitely have some concerns with the over prescription of GLP-1s and all of the commercials that I see catered for the general public about GLP-1s. I don't think everyone should be on a GLP-1, but again, let's make that a conversation for another video. Share your thoughts on this topic below and we can continue that in a separate thing too. I'm having a feeling this is going to be a big series of mine, not because I think GLP-1s are for everyone, but because I think that GLP-1s are something I'd rather be talking openly with my clients, patients, and you guys about versus having it be a shame-inducing conversation and then you go about this on your own and experience things like muscle wasting and malnutrition. I don't want that to happen, so that's why I'm talking about it on my channel. I don't have any financial incentive for GLP-1s, I promise. The first thing that I would love for you to know if you are taking a GLP-1 is how it's going to affect your appetite. GLP-1s affect your appetite because they are slowing gastric emptying. Obviously, it takes time for your body to digest it in your stomach and move to your intestines. But when we take a GLP-1, it is slowing the transit of food in our stomach and thus making us feel a lot fuller for a lot longer than normal. So this is a positive, especially if you experience a lot of food noise and you want to be able to have a little more space between the food noise and your ability to mindfully eat. A lot of folks, especially with insulin resistance, really need that extra help to be able to make mindful decisions about food and give themselves that space again. But what can happen for some folks is that it completely eliminates their desire for food. They don't want any meals, and so they tend to skip out on an entire day's worth of eating if they're eating quote unquote intuitively on a GLP-1. So I definitely don't really recommend eating intuitively. I know that sounds crazy because we're so used to, hey, you need to eat intuitively on a GLP-1, but I think of it more in the mindful eating aspect. We want to be listening to our body, but sometimes with a GLP-1, our body's not giving us the signals that it once did, so it's hard to rely on it alone. So we need to also rely on external cues like time of day and how many times we've eaten, and using things like the plate method for eating food to really guide us on, am I eating enough? Am I eating consistently throughout the day? And things like that. So first and foremost, it's going to affect your appetite extremely, and especially at the beginning. Sometimes it tapers off after a while and we get that appetite back. But especially in the beginning, don't only rely on your internal cues for hunger, for, the validation to eat or not. You need to eat at least 4 small meals a day, ideally 4 to 6 every 3 to 4 hours with carbs, protein, and fat. The second thing that kind of goes along with the first is that the GLP-1 is affecting our appetite significantly. So we're oftentimes craving more light foods and not really dense foods like protein-rich foods or foods that are heavy in fiber, like a big giant apple or a bunch of Brussels sprouts in our system, because again, our stomach feels like it can't handle a whole lot. So it can be, unfortunately, very hard to get in nutritionally dense foods because of this factor. So here's the thing that I'd like to really recommend for meal times, especially breakfast, lunch, and dinner, where it's a little bit bigger of portions. And maybe by the time you get to your protein, you're having a little trouble. Eat your protein first, your vegetables second, and then your starch, like for example, bread, potatoes, sweet potatoes, corn, last. This kind of helps our body fill up on what it needs the most of and what our appetite is telling us to have the least first, and then making its way around to least important, because a lot of us don't have as much trouble getting in carbohydrates. Those kind of come naturally. Protein and fiber are the two big things, so you want to kind of prioritize those accordingly. Muscle wasting is such a common occurrence with GLP-1s, so we want to try to avoid that and aim for higher protein and getting protein first. And finally, the third thing that I'm at least going to share for today, because again, this conversation could go on and on, but I want to do a simple, straightforward tip video for you just to start off with if you're starting a GLP-1 this week. The last tip I have for you is don't be afraid to supplement. So a lot of my folks, I typically recommend like a protein shake, like a pre-made protein shake. I really like the Orgain proteins, but Orgain also has one that is a nutrition shake versus just a protein shake. So it has vitamins, minerals, protein, and carbs and fat, whereas like a protein shake is a little more just focused on the protein. Don't be afraid to sneak that into your day. I know protein is so difficult to get in, especially on the GLP-1s. So I want you to fit it in any way possible, even if it's a shake. You can, if you have extra time, make a smoothie at home, make it extra nutrient dense too. That's totally okay. Really, liquid calories are going to be an easy way to fit in more nutrient density in your diet, because you're able to sip on it slowly over as much time as you need versus a meal where you're kind of, sitting there and eating within 20 minutes. Same thing with fiber though. You can also take a fiber supplement if you want to support your gut health, your digestion, which again, can be a really big challenge with a GLP-1, and just help get that nutrient in for blood sugar management, just extra boost of blood sugar management beyond just the medication alone. Don't be afraid to take fiber or protein in supplement form. I will leave some of my favorite protein and fiber supplements below, but again, Orgain is my go-to for protein. I haven't tried yet, but I'm about to purchase the supplement called Supergut. They look like a really great brand. It's like 7 grams of fiber per serving, so more than some of the other things like Metamucil and Benefiber. And also I think they have some flavors. So I'm going to try that and let you know how I feel, but not associated with that brand, but it just looks like I've been searching far and wide for a good fiber supplement for a while now because I've had so many questions on it and I really just can't find any good fiber supplements. So that's the one that I came across. I'll report back and let you guys know how I like that one, but those are just a couple examples. So again, let me know what's been your experience with a GLP-1 so far, or are you thinking about trying one, and what questions are popping up in your mind? I'm a registered dietitian and certified personal trainer, and I work every day with women with metabolic health challenges, PCOS, thyroid, perimenopause, and a lot of folks that are on GLP-1s. So this is kind of what spurred the topic to talk about on this channel, because I want to help you, if you're going to be on a GLP-1, do it in a way that's going to still support your nutrition goals, not just weight loss, but supporting your nutrition and overall health, and doing it in a way that's not going to lead to challenges in the future like losing muscle mass and malnutrition. All right. Appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about women's metabolic health and hang out with me week to week and answer health related questions. And like this video, comment, and chat with me and continue the conversation. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I'll leave a video up here that I think you'll love if you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk soon.